Ever since I can remember, education was at the center of what my parents wanted for me and my brother. My dad had a PhD, my mother had a master's, my grandfather and uncle were both professors. My brother went on to get a PhD, and I always knew that school was one of the most important things for me as a young person. And so I went to law school and found that the education has served me very, very well ever since. We have to advance our educational system to actually match up with the realities of the 21st century. Right now, we have way too many people who are getting trained in high school and college for jobs that may or may not be there. That's what we have to change together as a country. And in my first year, I would put forward a new set of priorities that would help us channel our young people towards the opportunities that will be there for years and years to come. I'm the parent of two young boys myself, 4 and 7, and my 7-year-old is on the autism spectrum and has been in a special needs school for the past 2 years. We need to invest in our kids from day one. We should be supporting new moms in terms of being able to have parental leave. We're one of only 2 countries in the world that does not give paid family leave to new mothers. It's us and Papua New Guinea. We have to get off that list as soon as possible. We have to be putting $1,000 in the hands of every American adult, which is going to give moms a boost to be able to spend more time with their kids as well. We should be providing daycare the same way that members of the military have access to daycare so that parents will have much more flexibility. I can't tell you how many parents have come to me here on the trail and talked about how daycare is so expensive that it doesn't make sense for one of the spouses even to go back on the job. We have to have pre-K in every school district in the country so that we give our kids a running start. The data clearly shows that investing in our kids at these early stages pays off down the road, and as a parent, I can tell you that is 100% the case. We need to invest in our young people from the earliest possible point, and that's where I would lead us as president. We have to do a lot to help strengthen our K-12 education system. Number one, we need to pay teachers more. The data clearly shows that a good teacher is worth his or her weight in gold in terms of improved educational outcomes for kids for years and years to come. Number two, we need more teachers in the classrooms. The data also clearly shows that having student-to-teacher ratios that are excessively high is bad for our kids' outcomes and performance. We need more teachers in the classrooms to be able to provide more attention to students that may need individualized lessons. Number three, we need to lighten up on the standardized tests. We have many teachers who are changing their behavior in classroom in ways they know does not serve the students because they're teaching towards a test instead of doing what they know to be right. We also need to be investing in vocational, technical, and trade programs at the high school level. Right now, only 6% of American high school students are in technical programs. In Germany, that's 59%. That's a massive gulf and a massive opportunity for us. In addition to technical and vocational programs, we should be investing in social and emotional learning, financial literacy, managing technology, and courses that would actually serve our young people regardless of whether they go on to college or not, and help make them better, stronger people and citizens. And I'll also say that arts education has a proven correlation to positive results. Instead of being the first thing we cut, we should be doubling down and emphasizing arts education in the K-12 level. Why has college gotten 2.5 times more expensive than when I went? It has not gotten 2.5 times better, unfortunately, and many families have felt they had no choice but to pay. So we have graduates with tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt right out of the gate. We're up to $1.6 trillion in total student loan debt, and it's climbing all the time. This was less than $100 billion only 20 years ago. So we have to attack this problem head on. Number one, I would forgive a significant proportion of the $1.6 trillion in student loan debt to give our young people in particular a pathway forward. One thing I proposed is the 10 by 10 plan, where if you commit 10% of your wages, whatever they are, for 10 years, you're debt free. That gives everyone a light at the end of the tunnel. We have to help schools get their costs down. Right now, their prices have just gone up and up and up, and it's unsustainable for families. As a parent of 2 kids myself, you look up and you think, what the heck is college going to cost in 10 years? It's staggering, and it's too much for most families to ever be able to afford. We need to invest in community colleges and let Americans know that these will provide paths to fruitful careers, because if you look at it, about 1/3 of Americans are going to graduate from college. About 10% are going to graduate from a 2-year program. We need to make investments at every stage, not just college, to let Americans know that there are different paths towards a successful career. We need to do more for our nation's teachers and educators. One, we need to pay teachers more. We need to be able to attract and retain the best people to the teaching profession, and studies have shown that compensating them at higher levels is the best way to do it. Number 2, we need to give them more autonomy in the classroom. Again, lighten up on the standardized tests and let teachers do their jobs. Number 3, we should have more teachers in our schools so that the student-to-teacher ratios don't go up and up. And number 4, we should let administrators know that they're there to support the teacher, not to have some kind of top-down structure or command and control. We have to give our teachers the ability to do their jobs. The other big thing we can do for teachers is strengthening homes and families. 2/3 of our kids' educational outcomes are influenced by parental time, parental income, stress levels in the house, type of neighborhood. By putting a dividend of $1,000 a month into the hands of every American family, we're going to give the kids a much better chance to learn, and the teachers a better chance to focus on actually teaching the kids instead of managing behavioral issues. We need to do much more for students in urban and rural areas that are not getting the kind of education they deserve. In rural areas, we should have high-speed broadband access in 99.9% of communities and homes. And we can do this. All we have to do is put some money in place to subsidize the laying of the last 20 to 30 miles of fiber optic cable towards rural communities, and then we can get that percentage up very quickly. We need to do much more for people in urban and rural communities that aren't getting the resources that they need to have a level playing field in the 21st century economy. My flagship proposal, the freedom dividend of $1,000 a month, would go particularly far in rural areas and urban areas that are underprivileged, so that the families have a much firmer foundation and the schools have more resources to be able to give our kids the education they deserve. Americans want to learn. The economy is changing faster than ever. We need to have resources in place so that Americans can become lifelong learners and pursue new fields. My flagship proposal is a freedom dividend of $1,000 a month for every American adult starting at age 18. This would be a game changer for Americans looking to pay for college, community college, start their own business, or pursue some other kind of educational path. $1,000 a month would be a foundation for all Americans coming out of high school and would help make education more affordable and attainable for tens of millions of Americans every single year. The freedom dividend of $1,000 a month in the hands of every American would give us all the flexibility and resources to be able to pursue higher education at any point. And it wouldn't need to just be a college or a community college. It could be workshops, apprenticeships, training, informal community gatherings. We can develop our people in many different ways if we supercharge our communities and regional economies with a dividend of $1,000 a month from age 18 until the day you die. That is how we're going to actually make it so that Americans can learn our entire lives.